Hey Swiftie, it's Ellen here again, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to play I Did Something Bad off of Taylor's Reputation album on the guitar. I want to give a quick shout out and thank you to my patrons on my Patreon page for voting on this song as this month's patron picks. So if you want a little bit of voting power in the order that you see me teach all of Taylor's songs here on this channel, make sure to check it out. I will link it in the description box down below. Here's a quick overview of everything I'll be covering in this tutorial today, and with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so you only need to know 6 different chord shapes to play through this entire song, and we're going to start with our E minor, which looks like this and sounds like this. And by the way, if you don't know how to read these chord charts you're seeing on screen, I do cover how to do that in my free beginner series right here on YouTube, so make sure to check that out right here. The next chord shape is our G major. We also have our C major. There's our A minor. We also have our B minor. But if bar chords is something that you're currently struggling with, you can actually replace the B minors with the D major chord. It doesn't sound exactly the same, but it does work for this song. If you want to replace all of the B minors with your D shape, it'll work in a pinch. But those are the 6 chords you need to know to play through this song. So go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really memorize these chord shapes, as well as practice transitioning back and forth between them, because it'll make learning the rest of the song so much easier for you. And if this is a skill you're currently struggling with, transitioning between these chords fast enough, I do actually have a Practice With Me chord transition series on my Forever Faithful channel, where we go through these chord shapes and build them up in real time together. So I will link that playlist in the corner here if you need it. But once you have these chords under your belt, then we can go ahead and talk about the strumming that I would recommend for this song. Alright guys, so as I always say, if you are brand new to playing guitar, or you're somebody who struggles with playing guitar and singing at the same time, the first thing I would suggest doing is to bring up the song and go ahead and go through the entire thing with just a single down strum on each chord change as you sing through the song. And you want to take this time to really get used to what word or what syllable you're on whenever those chords are changing. So here's a quick example of what that would look like. I never trust a narcissist, but they love me. So I play him like a violin, and I make it look oh so easy. Alright, so that's just a really quick example, but you would essentially want to do that for the entire song and just really make sure you know where those chords are going to be changing. And this is actually something to do right now. If you check out my Patreon page, I do have this entire guide available to download and print out, so I'll make sure to leave that link in the description box if you're interested. But once you've done this and you're comfortable with where those chord transitions are going to take place, then we can go ahead and add to this to create more of a full strumming pattern that you can use for this song. Alright guys, so for strumming today, as you can see, we are going to be counting this in a 16th note pattern. So if you don't know what I mean by that or how to count that, I would definitely recommend checking out my beginner series here on YouTube, because I cover all of that over there. But basically it's going to sound like this. We have 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1, 2, a E and 4 and a down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. And basically what we're going to do is take this pattern and play it one time through per chord throughout the song. And now there are going to be a few places where we want to use 2 chords within a measure, so in that case we'll have to split this pattern, but we'll cover that when we get there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this first verse. You can see here we're starting on our E minor chord. What you would want to do is play through this entire pattern one time through. So we have down, down, up, up, down, 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 up. Alright, then to G, down, down, up, down, 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 up. Then we've got our C chord, down, down, up, down, 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 up. And then here where I make it look oh so easy, we're going from our A minor to our B minor. And this is an example of where we want to split the measure. So I'm going to go ahead and add a vertical line here kind of in the middle of the pattern, and what this represents is where we want to change our chords. So in this case, on our A minor, we would do the first 2 down strums, down, down, quickly switch to our next chord, B minor, and finish out the pattern. Up, down, 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 up. Alright? So that's just an example of the split measure. So let's go ahead and try to put all of this together through one phrase. Starting again on our E minor, we've got down, down, up, down, 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 up, G, C. These are all for a full measure. And then split A minor down to B that's kind of the strumming pattern you can actually use throughout this song. We do want to speed it up a little bit to get it more at full tempo. So let me go ahead and speed it up and add some singing so you can see how it all comes together. I never trust a narcissist, but they love me. So I play them like a violin, and I make it look oh so easy. All right, so that's an example of how you would play this strumming pattern for the verse. Now let's go ahead and move into the pre-chorus. The chord order is going to be a little different here, but we're still using the exact same strumming pattern. So starting on our C, I can feel the flames of my skin, crimson red paint on my lips. If a man talks shit, then I owe him nothing. Don't regret it one bit, cause he had it coming. Alright, so again, you could see there between the E minor and the D, that's another example of that split measure. So I have all of this listed on my guide on Patreon, but anytime you see that symbol, you want to just kind of split the measure in half like that. So now let's go ahead and take it into the chorus. On the chorus, we're starting here on our E minor chord, but again, the strumming pattern's the same. They say I did something bad, why does it feel so good? They say I did something bad, why does it feel so good? So right here, this is the only place in the entire song that I would recommend changing your strumming pattern. Anytime we get to the chorus, why does it feel so good? We've got our A minor to our B minor. What I would recommend there to mimic the song is just to pare this down to a double down strum. So on A minor, we've got down, down, and then I like to just take my hand, mute the string. So I've got down, down, mute, and then same thing with B minor, down, down, mute. All right, anytime in the chorus when I do A minor to B minor, that's what I like to do there. They say I did something bad, why does it feel so good? They say I did something bad, why does it feel so down, down, good, down, down, mute. All right, so that's kind of a little example of the entire song. The only place that's going to be different is the bridge. Now on the bridge, the chord order is the same as we're used to, but I would recommend just paring this down to a single down strum, okay? Because the bridge kind of quiets down there. They're burning all the witches even if you aren't one. So just a down strum on each of these chords. They got their pitchforks and proof, their receipts and reasons. All right, so single down strum throughout the bridge, and then just at the very end of the bridge when she sings Light Me Up over and over to lead back into that very last chorus, that's where I would just kind of go experimental a little bit with your strumming. What I like to do is just all down strums. So light me up, light me up, light me up, go ahead and light me up. Here on this E minor, light me up, light me up. I'm doing all down strums, light me up, and then hold it out, and then go back into the bridge or the chorus. They say I did something bad, why does it feel so good? All right, so again, at the bridge, I would just do a single down strum and then kind of experiment in any way to kind of build up that tension going into the last chorus. But basically, this strumming pattern that you see on screen, I would recommend using for the entire song. However, I did come up with an easy picking pattern that you can do to kind of mimic the instrumental part of this song for the verses. So let's go ahead and talk about that next. All right, guys, so again, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to kind of look over this strumming pattern. The good thing about it is that you can use this strumming pattern to play through the entire song. So once you get this rhythm internalized and you can kind of play it from muscle memory, you'll realize how much easier it is to sing on top of it. Plus, fun fact, this is one that you can use for so many other Taylor songs as well, so it's a really great idea to kind of start developing your rhythm skills here. If you need a little extra help with this, I do have a Practice With Me strumming series on my Forever Faithful channel as well, so I will link the video that goes exactly with this pattern in the corner if you want to try it out to see if it helps. But once you have that down, let's go ahead and break down this picking pattern that you can use for this song. All right, guys, so for this picking pattern, it's totally optional. So basically, let's go ahead and go over some ground rules. Our left hand, we're just going to continue holding down these chord shapes that we've been playing throughout the song. Our right hand, we're going to pick individual strings with, okay? So basically your pointer, middle, and ring finger, I want you to try to keep those here on the bottom 3 strings, and they're never gonna move from these strings, okay? And the only finger that's gonna be moving is your thumb. It's gonna cover the bass note of every chord that we're playing, okay? So for example, our first chord is E minor. Your thumb's gonna be here on the 6th E string, because that's the lowest or bass or root note of this chord. All I want you to do is pick the bass by itself, so your thumb, Then you're gonna pick the bottom 3 strings all together at the same time. We're gonna do the bottom 3 strings 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And that's the picking pattern we've got. All right, then you have a rest and then come back. 1, 2, 3. So for E minor, we've got trust a narcissist, but they love me. All right, here on our G chord, same thing. Your thumb is going to be on the 6th string. Then we've got our C chord. Here your thumb's moving to the 5th A string. So basically whichever string is the lowest string that you play in each chord is the one you want to pick. So for C we've got 5. All right, so I play them like a violin and I make it look. Here, remember that A minor to B minor is an example of a split pattern with our strumming rhythm. So we are going to mimic that here with our picking as well. So on A minor, you're gonna have your thumb on the 5th string. We're gonna do it just one time. Then switch straight into your B minor chord. Again, your thumb's on the 5th string. All right, so all of the other chords so far, we've kind of done the picking pattern for a full measure with a rest in between like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But on our A minor to our B minor, or anytime you see a split measure pattern, we're gonna go 1 and 2 and change chords, 3 and 4 and. All right? So let's go ahead and go through that first verse all together as an example. Again, we've got E minor and D and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Never trust a narcissist, but they love me. So I play them like a violin and I make it look oh so easy. All right, so notice how the split measures go a little bit, like they feel a little bit faster. I like to carry this little picking pattern into the pre-chorus as well. I can feel the flames on my skin, crimson red paint on my lips. If a man talks, then I owe him nothing. Don't regret it one bit, 'cause he had it coming. All right, so the pre-chorus is another place I like to do the picking pattern. That very last line where we're holding our E minor going into the chorus, that's where I would switch from picking into strumming. But basically, let's go through that last part of the pre-chorus. I don't regret it one bit, 'cause he had it coming. E minor, I'll do a picking for one measure, and then I'll go straight into strumming, 1 and 2 and 3. Let it hold, and then we go into the chorus. They say I did something bad, strumming. All right, so again, that last part goes like this. I don't regret it one bit, 'cause he had it coming. 1 and 2 and 3. They say I did something bad. Why does it feel so good? All right, so that's how I like to go from picking into strumming, and I'll do that all of the times between the pre-choruses and the chorus. So when that first chorus is over and I go back into the verse, again, I just drop my pick. I never trust a playboy, but they love me. And I go straight back into picking, okay? So if you want to, I would definitely recommend trying this picking pattern. It's pretty beginner friendly. And then you can just use it throughout the verses and the pre-choruses or wherever you feel like it sounds good. But yeah, that is my suggestion for picking. All right guys, so one last time, go ahead and pause the video and take as much time as you need to really look over this picking pattern. Sometimes it can take a while to get the coordination down, to get your fingers to cooperate with what you want. So just make sure to pause and take as much time as you need to really get used to it. But if you do want to add it into your cover, I do think it sounds really cool, and I will be adding it into mine at the end here. But yeah, once you have this down, then we can go ahead and put everything we've learned in this tutorial together, the chords, the transitions, strumming, picking, put it all together to play through the song. 1, 2, ready, go. I never trust a narcissist, but they love me. So I play them like a violin, and I make it look oh so easy. 'Cause for every lie I tell them, they tell me 3. Want to have fun jamming out to the rest of the song with me? Yeah! Then make sure to check out my Patreon page where you can unlock access to this as well as all my other Swiftie sing-along guitar tutorials. I've covered so many of her songs from all the different albums and eras, so if you are a Swiftie who loves to play her songs on the guitar, I would definitely recommend checking it out. I will link it in the description box down below. If you enjoyed learning this song with me, then you should definitely check out this video. Not only does it have a super similar vibe and feel, but it's just as fun and easy to play, so I'll see you over there.